Dear students, welcome to Tangal online classes. So in the last video I had started with the structure of the bone, that is macroscopic structure of bone already we have discussed. So I had mentioned that in the next class we will study the microscopic structure of this bone. So whenever you take the cross section of the bone, that moment you will find many microscopic structures, many lamellar concentric ring like structures that you come across, and those ring like structures, one ring like structure I have drawn over here. So this is called as Haversian system or Haversian system it is called as. Such kind of many Haversian systems that we come across in the mammalian bone, especially long bone we consider. Yesterday I had drawn the diagram of the bone itself, right? It is usually broader towards the end and narrow towards the center. So this kind of flat bone, so our long bone that we consider over here, and this long bone, when you take the cross section, thin section of this one, that moment you will find this kind of concentric ring like structures, and they are said to be as Haversian canals or osteons they are called as. Okay, so let us start with the Haversian system. Haversian system. So this is said to be as the histological study of bone itself, right? Especially mammalian bone, right? Histology of the bone that we are studying now. Okay, so in this system, so there you come across, so at the central axis, when you take the cross section that moment, so on this side, right, so on the sides at the central axis there you find a bone marrow. Apart from that bone marrow, on the sides you will find this kind of systems called as Haversian systems, right? So let us study this Haversian system. See here at the central axis of this Haversian system, there you see one canal like structure that is called as Haversian canal. What it is known as? Haversian canal. So in Haversian canal you will find, so what? So blood vessels as well as nerves that you come across there. Okay, in Haversian canal, so there we find nerves as well as blood vessels. Means the direct blood supply is seen in case of this bone, but the direct blood supply is not at all seen in case of another skeletal system, that is another skeletal tissue, that is nothing but cartilaginous tissue, right? So here the direct blood supply that you find there. Of course, this is called as central axis of the Haversian system is called as Haversian canal, and this Haversian canal is surrounded by the matrix. See here at the central axis called as Haversian canal, and this Haversian canal is surrounded by the matrix, right? And this matrix mainly consisting of what? It consists of, consisting of white collagen fibers. Very important point to be noted over here. What is that? White collagen fibers are richly arranged over here, right? So this is white collagen fibers. Along with this matrix also contains a protein, and that protein is called as osteocyte. That protein is called as what? Osteocyte. And this osteocyte also consisting of some of the minerals right? The matrix contain a specialized protein called as osteocyte. Along with that one, so minerals are also present, and the minerals are especially calcium as well as the phosphorus, right? Calcium as well as phosphorus are rich in, so what, the bones. Already I had mentioned in the last class that, so this skeletal tissue is responsible for the storage of the calcium as well as this phosphorus, right? So this is rich in calcium as well as phosphorus, right? This kind of minerals are also present over there. Apart from this one, you are seeing here some of the concentric rings over here, and each concentric ring is called as, so what, lamellae. What it is called as? Lamellae. They are called as lamellae. So each concentric ring is called as, each concentric ring of the Haversian system called as lamellae, right? Lamellae, right? So in the lamellae, there one space that you come across, and that space is called as lacunae, right? So in the concentric ring, lamellae you come across. In each lamellae, there are some spaces provided, and those spaces are called as lacunae. What they are known as? Lacunae. And these lacunae are the spaces which contains, means inside the lacunae you will find a specialized cell, and that cell is bone cell. What it is called as? Bone cell. Yesterday I had mentioned, so whenever we are starting with the macroscopic structure of the bone, there I had mentioned osteocytes are the kind of bone cells, right? Here, so what is present in the lacunae? Bone cell. This is called as osteocyte. What it is known as? Osteocyte. So many such kind of osteocytes that you come across over here in the concentric rings called as what? Lamellae. Lamellae are concentric rings. In each concentric ring, there are many number of spaces that you come across, and those spaces are called as lacunae. Inside the lacunae, osteocytes are present over there. They are nothing but bone cells. They are the cells which form the bone itself, right? So bone tissue itself, right? So this is more important aspect to be remembered. And come to the next point. What is that? So this is one osteocyte, this is another osteocyte that you are seeing over here. So both the osteocytes are interconnected with certain canals, certain specialized canals, right? So in the lamellae, there you come across what? Osteocytes, lacunae, and these lacunae so are interconnected with each other, so by the adjoining with the what? Neighboring lacunae. One lacunae come in contact with another lacunae through some of the specialized canals, and those canals are known as canaliculi. More important point to be noted over here, what it is called as? Canaliculi. Many canaliculi that interconnect the lacunae over here. So the nearer lacunae or neighboring lacunae over here, right? So is it very clear? And these are called as canaliculi. You are seeing here canaliculi. Okay. So this canaliculi, through which there the protoplasmic strands between the two osteocytes take place. See here, so this is one canaliculi, alright. See here, they are adjoining like this. Okay, so like this they are joined over here. These are nothing but canaliculi, right? So here inside that one, there you come across what? This is the space. This is the space what you come across. Okay. This is osteocyte. This is osteocyte. Okay. So this is called as canaliculi. Through this canaliculi, the strands are formed over here, and through these strands only what is interconnected over here? It is interconnection of the osteocytes, the neighboring osteocytes that take place, right? So protoplasmic strands are formed between two neighboring osteocytes. They interconnect with each other. That is the important point to be noted over here. So, and the next one, what is the next one? You came to know there is a central axis called as Haversian canal and concentric rings called as lamellae. In the lamellae, spaces called as lacunae, and lacunae are interconnected with canaliculi, and through the canaliculi the protoplasmic strands are made between two osteocytes. Okay, in each what lacunae there is a osteocyte. So all these are the things that you came to know. This forms the entire one Haversian system, right? Haversian system, right? Such kind of many Haversian systems are present over here. Haversian canals are present over here. See here, this is one Haversian canal, and here one more is there, here one more is there, here one more is there. So like this many Haversian canals that you come across, and those canals are directly linked with each other. They are linked with, interconnected with a specialized connections called as Volkmann's canals. What they are known as? Volkmann canals. Here, what are interlinked? One Haversian canal is interconnected with another through Volkmann's canal, right? Volkmann's canal. This is more important point to be noted over here, right? So through that what happens? The blood vessels are interconnected between the Haversian systems, right? And this one more point to be noted, this is cross section what I am explaining. Whenever you take the cross section of the bone, here you will find this kind of structures, and many structures are arranged over here. So many structures are arranged over here as already. So I made you to imagine that one, okay? So this one is interconnected with this one, and this one is interconnected with this one. So like this many concentric rings as well as the Haversian canals are interconnected over here. So directly with the help of the canals called as Volkmann's canal. Volkmann's canal, right? So this one point to be noted. And one more is, so whenever you consider this one like this, so that moment you will find, so this canal, that is Haversian canal, runs along the axis of this bone itself. Along the axis of its bone, right? So it runs along the length of the axis of the bone, right? So this is to be imagined over here. So this system itself is called as Haversian system. This is nothing but the histology of the bone, that is long bones in our body or mammalian's body itself. Now the classification of these bones in the body, right? So classification. So these bones are classified into different types. In the classification I had mentioned that one. So bones are mainly classified into two types. One is called as compact bone and another one is called as spongy bone. On what basis actually these bones are classified? So let us see that one. So macroscopically bones are classified into two types macroscopically. So one is called as spongy bone and the second one is called as compact bone. So like this there are two types. Spongy bone, as you are seeing in the diagram, the central axis mainly consisting of the spongy tissue, that is, so bone marrow is present in that part. So there the network of bony spicules that we come across, and that mainly consisting of red bone marrow itself, right? That part of the bone itself is called as spongy bone. Apart from this spongy bone, the outer surface of the bone itself becomes the compact bone, since it consisting of very hard structures, that is Haversian canals or Haversian systems it consisting of, and there in the cavities the yellow bone marrow is present, right? So I shall note the points over here. So this spongy bone, it is the central axis of bone that consists of bone spicules. Here network of bone spicules over here. In between the bone spicules there what is present? Red bone marrow. Red bone marrow is present. In between the bone spicules, red bone marrow is present. And such kind of bone is called as spongy bone. It is spongy bone. And that spongy bone is responsible for what? Erythropoiesis. What do you mean by erythropoiesis? Erythropoiesis is nothing but production of RBCs, right? Erythra means red, right? Production of RBCs, along with that one production of WBCs, right? WBCs also take place here in this bone marrow. So in this part of the bone. And compact bone itself consisting of Haversian systems. So it forms the outer surface of bone itself. It forms the outer surface of the bone that contains many Haversian systems. And what are present in the Haversian systems you came to know. So here you will come across what? Yellow bone marrow. What do you come across? Yellow bone marrow, which is rich in fat. And yellow bone marrow usually not present in newly born babies. Why? Because only the red bone marrow is present. Erythropoiesis is continuously taking place in those children, and so the cells are many in number and they are providing oxygen as well as so transportation of these respiratory gases is taking place in those children continuously, right? So whenever the age as it goes on, so that moment what happens, the yellow bone marrow is formed in the compact part of the bone. So there it is rich in fat itself. This is how the classification, one way of classification of this bone has been taken over here. So and another way is anatomically the bones are classified into three types. One is long bones, another one is flat bones, right? And so one more is irregular bones. So there are three kinds of bones: long bones, flat bones, as well as irregular bones. So like this, there are three types. So let us see. So anatomically, the bones are classified into three types. One is long bones, and second one is flat bones, and third one is irregular bones. So this way they have been classified into three kinds. Long bones, best example. So here you will come across one bone on the upper part of this forelimb, and this so bone itself is single and it is long one, so that is humerus. What is it? Humerus bone. And second bone is so thigh bone, right? What is that? Thigh bone. Thigh bone is the longest bone in our body, right? So thigh bone is there, as well as humerus is there. So these two bones are long bones as we consider, right? Flat bones. So of course in our skull there are some bones are there. So whenever we study the skull, that moment, so we'll come to know how those flat bones are there. So they form this entire skull itself, and those flat bones, so flat bones, example that one, skull bones, right? Skull bones are one kind of, and next one is second example for that one. Where are these present? Ribs are there, as well as sternum is there, chest bone is there, so that is sternum, as well as third one, that is ribs. So these are the best example for flat bones itself, right? So next one, irregular bones. So vertebrae, as they form the vertebral column, so those vertebrae are irregular bones, they are called as vertebrae, are the irregular bones. So like this, anatomically we classify the bones into three types. So number one, long bones, flat bones, as well as the irregular bones. Like this, there are three types. This is about one tissue, that is bone tissue. And after this one, so in the broadly classification of these connective tissues, so there we had mentioned one more type, that is the last type, which is a fluid connective tissue. It is also called as vascular connective tissue. Let us start with the vascular connective tissue. Vascular tissue or vascular connective tissue itself is called as fluid connective tissue, right? Why? Because the matrix in this connective tissue is fluid, hence it is a kind of a specialized tissue. It is a kind of a specialized tissue in connective tissue itself. Why? The matrix is liquid in nature. Matrix may be so semi-rigid in nature, so semi-solid in nature. I said matrix may be fluid in nature. So like that I had mentioned in the previous class only, right? So like this, here the matrix is so liquid in nature. That's why it is a specialized connective tissue, it is called as. And it is also called as a transport tissue. Why it is also called as a transport tissue is because it helps in transportation of the materials across the body, so that it brings about the connection between many number of the tissues. Hence it is said to be as one connective tissue which is also known as transport tissue, which help in transportation of many materials. So say for example, the respiratory gases like O2 as well as CO2 it carries. Okay, so this way transport tissue it is also mentioned to be as. This fluid connective tissue has two types. It has two types. One is called as blood and second one is called as lymph. So like this, there are two types of vascular tissues that we come across, and let us start with the first one, that is blood. That is blood. Blood is one kind of what? Vascular connective tissue, or it is called as fluid connective tissue, which is fluid in nature, which is so liquid in nature. Matrix is liquid in nature. Then so what is this blood? The question arises. Blood is nothing but it is a thick red colored viscous so fluid that flows across the body and carry many number of the useful and the waste products across the body, right? So that kind of blood, so that contains what? Mainly it contains the plasma as well as formed elements. This is more important point to be remembered. So here blood is thick red colored viscous fluid that contains plasma as well as formed elements. That contains plasma as well as formed elements. Okay, so let's have to study plasma first, and later we'll have to study what are the formed elements, right? So first of all we'll start with this blood. So but first of all, so what is the study of this blood called as, right? So the study of blood is called as hematology, right? Hem, it means blood. Logy means study of blood itself, right? So hematology, point to be noted. And the next one, so how much of the blood is present in one adult person, right? So it is about 5.5 liters to 6.5 liters of blood is usually present in one adult person. Right? So this much of blood is present over here. So and this blood so plays very important role, and that flows through the blood vessels due to the pumping organ, that is heart itself, right? So this is more important aspect to be remembered, right? So and this blood mainly consisting of plasma. First of all we'll study this one, and later we'll study formed elements. Okay, so first of all we'll start with the plasma. What is this plasma, right? So what is this plasma? It is so the alkaline, slightly alkaline so substance, or it is a liquid, it is said as. It is straw colored, slightly alkaline fluid, it is, and its pH is about 7.35. Its pH is about 7.35, and this plasma mainly consisting of, what it consists of, what is this plasma consisting of except the formed materials or formed elements, what we call as. So these formed elements are nothing but blood cells. Except these blood cells, what this plasma consisting of, what is the importance of this plasma in the blood is very important point, right. So plasma mainly consisting of the water. Maximum amount of water is present in the plasma. It is about 90 to 92% of the water is present, and remaining 8% of other things are present. So hence it is alkaline in nature, already had mentioned. So apart from this one, it contains some of the proteins, about 6 to 8%, right. So proteins will be there, they are the major components of this plasma. Then what kind of proteins are present over here? We will list out all those proteins over here. What are those proteins? Different types of proteins that we come across. One is fibrinogen, and second one is albumins, and third one is globulins. Third one is globulins, right. So fourth one thrombin, right. So such kind of many number of proteins are present over here in the plasma. What are the major functions of these fibrinogen, albumin, so thrombin or so globulin? So let us see. Fibrinogen is a clotting factor. It is a clotting factor. It helps in clotting up of the blood. Fibrinogen, it is a kind of protein. Albumins are also present over there. What are the functions of these albumins? So very important one, it maintains osmotic balance. It helps in osmotic balance, right. And globulins, so especially the immunoglobulins are the type of globulins present over here in the blood. So they help in defense. Defense means they can fight against the microbes or the infecting agents that attack on the body. So immunoglobulins are nothing but they are the Y shaped. So immunoglobulins are nothing but antibodies, right. They are a kind of proteins present over here. Thrombin is also helping in clotting up of the blood. So this way many number of what are present, proteins are present. So they are 6 to 8% in percentage. Some more inorganic elements are also present over here. Some inorganic elements. So first of all, phosphates, bicarbonates, sulfates, right. Bicarbonates will be there, sulfates will be there, phosphates will be there. So apart from this one, magnesium, calcium along with sodium, such kind of many inorganic substances are also present over there. Apart from this one, some of the organic substances are also present over there. They are amino acids, right. So what are present? Amino acids, which together form what? Chain of amino acids form the proteins, right. Amino acids will be there, and fats will be there, as well as one of the fat, that is cholesterol, right. And apart from this one, glucose is very important one, blood glucose. So this is more important one. Why? Because so if the glucose amount that increases in the body and it is removed through the so what urination or micturition itself, so that condition is called as diabetic condition, right. So this glucose, blood glucose plays very important role, right. So amino acids are there, fats are there, cholesterols are there, as well as glucose. Such kind of organic substances are also there. Some of the nitrogenous wastes are also present over here. The main or the chief nitrogenous waste is urea. It's very important one. Urea is also present in the plasma, and apart from this one, some of the special substances are also there. What are those special substances that are present or that contribute to this plasma? It's very important, especially respiratory gases. Gases like O2 as well as CO2. So along with this one, some of the hormones are there, some of the vitamins are there. Such kind of special substances are also present in the blood. So this is, so that is nothing but blood is not, so it is plasma. It is the composition of plasma what we discussed till now itself, right. So this is all about what? The blood, as well as its one of the components itself is plasma. And one more point, so you must remember, this plasma makes the total 55% of the total blood. How much it is? 55 part of the total blood is nothing but plasma, and remaining 45%, so that forms the formed elements. This point to be noted over here. So this is all about the plasma. Now we shall start with the formed elements. Now we shall start with the formed elements, right. Formed elements. What are the formed elements? These are nothing but blood cells. These are nothing but blood cells. What are the formed elements are there? So first one is RBC, and second one is WBCs, as well as platelets. So these are the formed elements, so that are present in the blood itself. So first of all, we shall start with RBCs, and later WBCs, later platelets. So first of all, we'll start with the RBCs. What are these RBCs? So what is the unique nature of these RBCs? How many number of RBCs are there per 100 ml of blood? Everything that we study here now. RBCs are nothing but, they are the disc-shaped microscopic, they are disc-shaped microscopic enucleated cells, right? Oval or disc-shaped microscopic enucleated cells. So very important point, this is the only cell which is enucleated. Enucleated in the sense that absence of nucleus. Okay, so these are disc-shaped or sometimes oval shaped, what we biconcave. This word is very important one. So these are disc-shaped biconcave microscopic cells present in the blood. So these RBCs are said to be as biconcave. Why they are called as biconcave? So from the side view, you will find these cells like this. These cells are looking on the side view, and in the surface view, these are disc-shaped one. This kind of RBCs will be there. So they are biconcave in the sense that here you can observe there is a depression on both the sides. Hence it is said as biconcave. So, cells these RBCs are. Usually, a normal human being, a healthy human has 4.5 to 5.5 millions of RBCs per cubic millimeter, right? So, that many number of these RBCs must be there in one normal healthy human being, right? And so, these RBCs mainly consisting of the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a kind of globulin protein, already I had mentioned globulin protein. So, this protein which is present in RBCs, so this is the special character. Why? Because this helps in carrying respiratory gases like CO2 as well as O2, right? So, then how much of this hemoglobin must be there in a normal healthy human being? So, this hemoglobin is 12 to 16 grams in normal healthy person. It must be 12 to 16% in normal healthy person, right? This much of hemoglobin must be there, right? And this hemoglobin is red in color. Hence, these cells are said to be as red blood corpuscles, or these are also known as erythrocytes. Erythra means red. It means red. Hence, these are called as erythrocytes. These are commonly known as, right? So, this is about what? RBCs, right? So, next thing is, these cells have lifespan. The lifespan of these RBCs is about 100 to 120 days. That much of a lifespan these have. And these are produced, they are produced in what? Bone marrow. The process of production of RBCs is called as erythropoiesis. What it is called as? In the bone marrow, the erythropoiesis take place. What take place? Erythropoiesis take place. Erythropoiesis means production of RBCs, right? If the decreased number of RBCs take place, then it is called as erythrocytopenia. So, erythrocytopenia means what? It is decreased number of RBCs. It is nothing but decreased number of RBCs, right? So, this is about the RBCs, right? These are some more things related with the RBCs. One more point is there related with this RBC only. What is that? One more point is erythropoietin is the substance. Erythropoietin is produced by the kidney, and this erythropoietin stimulates the production of RBCs, right? Erythropoietin is produced by the kidney, which stimulates production of RBCs. So, these are all things related with what? These RBCs itself. Next one is WBC. Yes, white blood corpuscles, WBCs. So these are large nucleated cells present in the blood itself, right? But so RBCs are enucleated, but one exception is there, that is in camel, so it is nucleated, but so in all other mammals it is enucleated. See here, so these are large nucleated cells which are so produced in bone marrow itself, right? Where they are produced? They are also produced in bone marrow, but these are nucleated and they are little more larger than these so RBCs, and these are about 6,000 to 10,000 number of, they are in thousands, not in millions. So number of cells per cmm, right? So that many number of these WBCs are there. So their lifespan is little short. A lifespan, it is about 10 days. It is about 10 days. So these WBCs are classified over here, classification. So classification of these WBCs take place into two types based on the presence or absence of granules in the cytoplasm of these cells, right? So these WBCs are classified mainly into, one is a granulocytes and granulocytes. Like this they have been classified. Agranulocytes are two types. One is monocytes and lymphocytes are the two types of agranulocytes that we come across. Here the granules are absent over here. Here the granules are present over here. So these are classified into three types. Once again, granulocytes are those WBCs which have granules within their cytoplasm, and so these are classified based on their staining property. Based on their staining property, they have been classified into three types. One is neutrophils, basophils and acidophils. So these are also called as eosinophils, right? So like this, they have been classified into two types. So granulocytes are classified into three types based on their staining property. So if they are after staining, so neutral in nature, neutrophils, basic in nature, basophils, acidic in nature, acidophils, like this they have been classified into different kinds, right? And these granulocytes have different shaped nuclei, right? Different shaped nuclei or lobed nuclei, right? 2 lobed, 3 or 5 lobed one, so or sometimes so different lobe that we find in the nuclei, right? But here, so there is no lobes found in agranulocytes, right? So like this, there are different types of what WBCs that we come across now. So let us see the shapes of those nucleus in different types of agranulocytes as well as so granulocytes, right? So let us see now. See now the shapes of the nuclei in different types of so granulocytes. This is agranulocytes. Granulocytes, neutrophils have 3 to 5 lobed nuclei that we come across. Here S-shaped nuclei that we come across. Here 2 lobed so nuclei that we come across. So there is no lobes at all seen in these so monocytes as well as lymphocytes. right? Lymphocytes, they are mainly defensive in nature, right? So this is about the different types of WBCs. And so in leukopoiesis is the process of production of these WBCs. So leukopenia is decreased number of these WBCs. These are different conditions that we come across related with these. So what WBCs? So WBCs are also produced inside the bone marrow itself. This is all about WBCs. Let us see what are platelets. Next one is platelets. So these are minute cells, enucleated cells. These are minute enucleated cells, right? So these minute nucleated cells, so they mainly formed from megakaryocytes. Megakaryocytes means megakaryon means nucleus. Large nucleus containing cells they are formed from, and these are so 2 lakhs to 3.5 lakhs in so number. 100 ml of so blood it is present usually, and these have the clotting property. Means they help in clotting up of the blood, right? Such kind of small platelets are also present in blood. So this is all about 3 kinds of formed elements, that is what. So first one is RBC, WBC as well as so platelets, right? So this is the thing what you should remember. And after this one, majority of the functions have been made by this so blood itself. There are some functions we will discuss now. So what are the functions of, shortly I am going to explain over here. So what are the functions? These functions are not given, but so extra knowledge should be there with you people. So these are the primary transportation. They help in primary transportation, right? They help in transportation of the respiratory gases as well as food material. So all these have been done by this blood itself, right? So this blood is circulating across the body, so that what happens? So body temperature is regulated. It helps in regulation of body temperature. So this is also more important one, and it helps as a defense system in our body. Why? Because already I have told you there are some Y-shaped immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins are nothing but antibodies present in the blood, and these antibodies kill the pathogens. This is how, so it is defensive in nature. It helps in transportation of not only the useful materials but also the excretory products. Nitrogenous waste are removed over here. So it helps in so carrying nitrogenous waste, right? And it also help in healing the wounds by clotting. It helps in healing the wounds also. These are some of the important functions of what? So the blood itself, right? So this is all about blood, and one more is there, that is lymph. So what is this lymph? Let us see. There is no need to So, study this in detailed manner. So, shortly I would like to explain this one, what is lymph. Lymph is commonly known as colorless blood. Why? Because it has the same composition of blood, but it doesn't have RBCs as well as large proteins, right? And this lymph is circulating. It is circulating in a lymphatic system. What is this lymphatic system consisting of? We will study in another chapter. So, right, so especially it flows through lymph vessels. Lymph vessels it flows to, and through lymph nodes also. And so this lymph is nothing but colorless blood, as it is also flowing in the intercellular spaces. So, it is called as intercellular fluid. It is also called as intercellular fluid. It is also known as. It is flowing through some of the vessels, and these lymph vessels are uniting together and they join once again the blood veins itself. This is how. So, it is the intercellular fluid through which the oxygen as well as the food material which are provided to the cells. From the blood vessels it comes to the lymphs to cells. This is how the transportation of the material is taking place. So, this is about the short explanation about this lymph itself, right. So, by this we finished one more vascular tissue, that is blood as well as lymph. Thank you.